Yo, what's up, y'all? I got everything I read in June here. This month has been kind of crazy, which is why this video's late. Busy working and doing all this crazy stuff. Went on vacation. So in here is like a pretty good stack of books, when you're on vacation, which what is there to do but read comic books, you know what I mean? Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna jump straight to it. This first book here, Gorillas, written and drawn by Bram Revel, who's to say? Uh, writer artist, we love a writer artist. Gorilla, this is a thick book, bro, and I got it for a really good price. It was definitely, I don't remember what I paid. It was like under $10, which is crazy to me. But this book's a little old, and so I feel like it's easier to get some old books used. This story is about a special unit of chimpanzees that fight in the Vietnam War. And pretty straight up, it says it on the back of the book. That is exactly what it's about. I think it was originally released as like 4 graphic novels or something like that. And this just collects all of them together. First thing I want to say, Brown Revel's art is sick. Black and white art, look at that, dude. This is great. And the art stays at this quality up until like the very back. I don't even want to say like quarter of the book, but like look at this, dude. Look, I feel like I don't know when I look at these pages, it just feels different. And maybe that's not a bad thing, but it feels so different from like this, And I just really love the style at the beginning of the book. Not trying to hate, artists change styles, and if you felt like it needed it, who am I to judge? But I just really enjoyed the beginning style in this book. We follow our main guy. He's like a Joe Schmo in the army. He's kind of a loser compared to the other army guys. And he gets mixed up with a special unit of chimpanzees who like come and find him and like bring him into the group. And now when I say that there's a special unit of chimpanzees in the Vietnam War, you might think, that's a ridiculous idea. That's the goofiest shit I've ever heard in my life. And you're wrong. Because what Brown Revel does in this book is he plays this shit so straight. There is no... You obviously get people who are like, oh, what the hell are monkeys doing here in Vietnam? You get a couple of guys saying that. But, like, it is not goofy and it's not silly. He plays it very straight. And, there's emotional moments with these monkeys. He hits all the stuff I feel like you'd expect for a book like this. Oh, just from a Vietnam book, not from like a book like this. I don't know exactly what a book like this means for like monkey soldiers, but where it's like, what's war really about? This shit sucks. No one should be at war. What are we doing in Vietnam? We're just killing innocent people. A lot of that in here. A lot of there's a lot of reflection through the chimpanzees who are trained to fight this way, where maybe they're losing their edge. It's kind of the main push of the book. I will say, how many pages is this? This shit did feel long. Yeah, like 700 something pages, 730, somewhere around there. And this shit is paced pretty slow. But look at that, dude. But also look at these monkeys, Paced pretty slow. Not a ton of action. There's a lot of like really circular, like, plot points. Like, people will be safe and then get into the same danger again, and then we'll be safe and then get in the same danger. It feels like we're running into like the same problems over and over again. There's like people hunting the chimpanzees, and they're just like always around each other but never find each other. So I did not find it very propulsive as a read. However, I don't think that's like necessarily a bad thing. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's very like I don't like nothing like crazy happens, bro. There's never something that's exciting and new. When you open this and you read the first like 15 pages, that's what it's gonna be like the whole time. For better or for worse. I think this is like a real achievement, and I like read some of this guy's writing in the back of the book where he talks about how long it took to finish this, which like I can only imagine, dude. 700 pages? Are you shitting me? But it is what you get, and there's not like twists and turns. It's exactly what you think it's going to be the whole time, and that's not something I particularly enjoy in comic books. I like it when I cannot predict what's going to happen next, and this one didn't exactly do it for me. I'm still gonna give it a 3 out of 5. I think this is like a real achievement of like a book to have like made. I think the art's really good. I think that there's like real emotional moments where I felt a lot of feelings, but mostly about chimpanzees. Where I was like, damn, bro, that shit do sound tough. Chimpanzee captain, I feel for him. But yeah, 3 out of 5 is where it's at. This is a tough one to give to someone, bro. Where it's like, yeah, do you want to read this book? It's 700. I don't know. It's kind of dense. I don't think it's an easy sell. I still liked reading the book. Very happy to have it in the collection. Up next, I got Briar by Christopher Cantwell, drawn by Germain Garcia. Germain? One of them. Colors by Mateus Lopez. This one's a Boom Studios book. This is just volume 1. It's very thin. The opposite of Grills. Very thin trade. I'm not a huge Christopher Cantwell guy. I read that one book, She Could Fly, and I like dead ass could not finish it. Even though everybody, loves that one so much. Everybody like kind of gasses that book up and says it's so beautiful. I didn't get it. I thought it was really hard to read. This one was not hard to read. But I think it's really helped because Germain, one of them, German, Garcia, is sick. Look at this artwork, dude. This is nuts. I'm really sad to see that he does not do volume 2. It makes me really sad because I think he is like the selling point of this book, personally. This book is about like a sleeping beauty stand-in that didn't wake up. And so she stayed like this the whole time. And then eventually gets woken up years and years later and like her kingdom is gone. And the world has changed. And it's like this like almost like post-apocalyptic version of like the medieval world that she knew. I think. Great pitch. And then she kind of, has to like toughen up and like go get revenge on these sick bastards that left her there for this long. It's a cool pitch. I'm in. That sounds cool. It is pretty cool. I think that, like, there's definitely a lot of meat left on the bone here. From what I see, there's only one more trade of this, which makes me think it got canceled and or wrapped up really quickly. Which makes me a little sad, but, it happens. Sometimes books get canceled. The way that Christopher Cantwell, like, writes it is, like, in this fairy tale style in these, like, caption boxes. Which I thought was cute, It's a fun gimmick. I like it. The characters are, like, so beautifully designed and so interesting. It just makes me want to know more about the world. And obviously, Christopher Cantwell has something to do with that. He wrote the book. That's a good amount of this would be his ideas, you must think. But I really think that the art style makes this book and makes me so glad that I have it. Even looking back at it now, it's like, holy shit, dude, look at how pretty this book is. I think the art is way more interesting than, like, the story, personally. But, I don't know. I just wish there was, like, a step above. I feel like there is, like, a version of the story that's like, more, that's just more. There's just more. And maybe that's unfair of me to say. But, like, look at some of these character designs, dude. We got this evil dude. That guy looks sick. This stuff is sick. I can't believe there's only one more trade of this. This one was actually a good time, though. I think it's a pretty easy book to give, like, anybody. And they'd have a decent time. Very dark fantasy vibes, Nothing fun, but in a fantasy world. I would give Briar also a 3 out of 5. Probably a little bit higher. Like, give me a 3.6 out of 5. Is that the first one to get a decimal? Maybe. But it's solid, Check it out. If you like the art, you'll probably like the book. That's really what it is. Up next, we got Get Fury. It's written by Garth Ennis. It's drawn by Jason Burrows. Guillermo Ortego does the colors? Oh, no, is the inker. My bad. Colors Nolan Stewart. Oh, my God. So many people working on this book. The GOAT, Dave Johnson, on covers. This one I got to be really careful going through. This is another Vietnam book. It was a Vietnam month for me, I guess. This is about Nick Fury gets caught in Vietnam, and they send our boy, the Punisher, but not the he's not the Punisher. He's like, the guy while he's just serving. He's not the Punisher yet, I don't believe. To go and retrieve him. Well, the government sends him in to go and retrieve him but they don't give an actual shit about Nick Fury at all. And they're like, it'd be great to save Nick Fury, but also if you just want to like fucking shoot him in the head, that also would be cool with us, the United States government. Has all the same Vietnam themes about how war is terrible and how governments are terrible and how no one should have ever fought in the Vietnam War. Uh, like all the Vietnam books. Jason Burrow's art, this is the first book of his I've ever read. It's very good. I'm really scared to keep flipping through this book because he draws some like truly horrific, terrible, gory stuff. Not even like, I mean, the stuff is gory, but he draws like it's horrific stuff, dude. Without it being like, it's not like invincible blood and guts. It's not like there's just nothing fun about it, dude. Do you see one of his guys get beat up? Like, there's a scene where we see a guy who survived torture, and it's awful. And you're like, well, obviously I know he's been tortured, so it's supposed to be awful. But you just forget. This guy treats the violence with, like, the disgust that it probably should have, Like, if you saw some of this violent stuff in person, that's what you would be left feeling. It's like, oh my god, this is horrible and disgusting. And you get that with Jason Burrow's work. I also think he's very good at the acting. He can get a lot of expression and emotion into these guys. I gotta check this page before I flip it. Everyone looks different. I love the colors in this book. I think that his like layouts are really good. The composition's really good. It moves. Y'all know I think Garth Ennis is up there on the Mount Rushmore of comic book writers, right? And I think that this holds up to it. But I think that, I mean, it's not my favorite Garth Ennis book. That's really what it is. And why should it be? It's like, a small trade about Nick Fury in the Vietnam War. It's not supposed to be like some magnum opus or anything like that. And he's still very good. I think that he's interested in some real sicko stuff, as Garth Ennis is one to be. But his character work is great. The conversation stuff is great. Nobody does it. I can't show that page. See, this is what I mean, dude. I gotta like flip through 100 pages before I can show you guys something else. But yeah, this is a real sicko book. If you're looking for a book to make you feel really, really bad, you could read this book. This book, like, ruined my day. And I think it was supposed to. It's a really depressing, awful, terrible ride. But I think that's the point, So, if you're a real sicko and you're into that stuff, go ahead and get Fury. I give it another high 3 out of 10. I think it's very well done. It's not my cup of tea, like genre-wise. Like the horrors of war. And that's something I love to read about on my downtime. Sue me. But high 3 out of 5. I liked it. Garth Ennis, still the GOAT, no matter what. Up next, we got Batman Off-World by Jason Aaron, Doug Mahnke, perhaps. Jaime Mendoza does something. Oh, and it is an inker as well. Okay. David Barron as colorist. Nope, that doesn't say Tony. Troy Pateri on letters. Alright, guys, here's the pitch. Batman in space. That's it. Batman is alone in space on a spaceship with aliens in like space jail. And he why is he there? How does he get out? That's the whole pitch. And I'm a simple man, dude. I like Jason Aaron. Put Batman in space. I want to see what happens. That seems interesting to me, right? And it is pretty interesting. I think that Doug Mahnke does like really classic comic book art, like real typical like big two stuff, which is not totally my speed. Not to say he's not good, but it just feels like, classic comic book, superhero comic book style. He's very good. This is like a real, I was trying to make this as a video by itself of like the 90-minute action movie comic book. I would say this is that, but this is like 2 of them. This is like if you put 2 of those 90-minute action movies together, it would be this book. It's kind of split right in the middle, I feel like. And that works well. And Batman in this book is like Sylvester Stallone, bro. Like, dead ass. He just is tough, and then he, like, makes out with Hot Space Girl, and then he beats everyone up while saying really tough guy stuff. In the beginning, I was reading this, and I was like, this is corny. I don't get it. I can't believe that we're doing this. Like, why do we need a book just stroking Batman's ego about like how tough and strong he is? I get it. I believe Batman is tough and strong. Seems crazy to just put another book out like that in 2025, but that's just me. But then by the end, I was having fun. You know, it won me in the second half. I won't lie. But like that's what you should expect going in, dude. This is like a straight to DVD Batman plot, and I think that's cool. I watch those straight to DVD movies. I'm not a hater, but it does feel like that the whole way through. Yeah, I'm not really gonna talk about this one anymore. This definitely was not my favorite book I read this month. I would give it a low 3 out of 5. If you just want Batman like beating ass, and I guess as a turn your brain off book. I always hate it when people recommend books that way as a turn your brain off book, because to me that means it's stupid. So here, Batman Offworld, turn your brain off book. Have a good time with it if you're into that thing, huh? Up next, we got Barfly. It's written by Kyle Starks. It is drawn by Ryan Brown. Patton Oswalt and Jordan Blum also have their name on this book. It is unclear how involved they are in this. I know that they made Minor Threats. It's a story plotting. So, whatever that is. They did that. Lettered by Nate Piekos. Piekos? Piekos? Piekos. I don't know. This takes place in the Minor Threats universe, which is like Patton Oswalt. It's like I guess a satire on like superheroes, but I'd like to think it's a little more unique than that because you see 100,000 of those. It feels like at this point, but it's like they're more concerned with like the day-to-day lives of villains and how does it work to live in one of these cities for real. And this follows. Along with that, I really like Ryan Brown. Huge fan of 8 Billion Genies and God Hates Astronauts. So I was in on it. I think this Ryan Brown art is really good. Really, really good. I hesitate to say some of his best stuff because all of his stuff is very good, but I thought it was great. He just gets better as he continues to draw. Kyle Starks, I would say I like as a writer. He is one of these guys who is like actually funny and is like trying to do the like classic like just jokes per minute is on a million, like everything's a joke all the time. And Ryan Brown, very funny like artist. I feel like just his drawings add so much like personality and can make jokes hit as like just pure visual gags. So it's really like a partnership, a perfect partnership. Like, what else could you ask for? This book doesn't, for me, this is very me, very biased take. Sometimes in comedy books, comedy movies, it feels like they have to make the main character like this big loser and like his life terrible. And it makes me really sad to see it whenever I do it. And then I'm not laughing at the book because I feel so bad for this guy in his life, feel a lot of empathy for his position. And that was my feeling in this book. It follows Shit Eater, the Fly. That's his dead ass's name. He's a fly. He works for a supervillain that controls and makes big bugs. This is his homie. That stays in here and he goes and visits. I forget his name. We're looking right at it. I still don't know. But it's just him. He works at a fast food store and he's like, my life is terrible and nobody will be nice to me because I'm a big fly. And I used to work for a supervillain, and that is the theme of the book: is him trying to like stick it to his old boss and be his own man. But his life just sucks, dude. So like, as much as there are jokes in here, I don't know. I was just left feeling kind of sad, man. I feel bad for him. Look at him, dude. He just wants to do rock and roll and live his dreams, but everybody just beats him up all the time. It's tough. It's tough. And that's really all my thoughts on this, dude. I don't know. I like Kyle Starks. I definitely don't like all the stuff that he does. I thought this was, like, cool. It was fine. Ryan Brown is a very good artist. Minor Threats just might not be for me, because I didn't love the main book either. So, if you like Minor Threats, maybe you'll like this. I would give Barfly a middle-of-the-road 3 out of 5. I think it's, it's just two guys who are, like, good at what they do. They're not going to make a bad book. You put those two together. Up next, we got Isola. I believe that's how you say it. Written by Brendan Fletcher. Drawn by Carl Kerschel. Very, very good artist, Carl Kerschel. I didn't realize how good Carl Kerschel was. This is, like, probably, I think, my earliest. Like, the first time I heard of him. I've been on, like a binge trying to find more about him after this because he's very good. Oh, no, he did The Ambassadors. He did a part of that. So I've seen his stuff before, but I didn't realize, like, who he was, Isola, it takes place in this, like, like fantasy, classic fantasy setting. There's obviously a twist on it, but there's like magic in the world. There are kingdoms. It's not like a European fantasy. There's not like kings in the same way. It's not like castles in that same way. It's tweaked. It's very interesting. A little bit more like spiritual magic, more like witch doctory. You know what I mean? Shamans, that sort of stuff. It opens on Isola and her tiger that she is very fond of, and she seems to work for the tiger. She's trying to protect the tiger and bring the tiger somewhere, but says all the time is apologizing to the tiger and calling her something very sweet and special the whole way through. You know, I don't like to spoil anything. Tiger's important, though. Also, looks sick. From what I know about Carl Kerschel, this guy loves to draw animals, and he is very, very good at drawing this tiger. It is nuts how well this tiger like acts and moves around. He's very good. That would be the hardest part. Like thinking as like an artist, that sounds so hard to have a tiger, like a regular tiger, be the main character in your book. But he crushes it. Carl Kerschel's acting is very good. I don't think he does the colors. I didn't say the person's name, but Miss Sasik, I guess, does the colors. But this book was very interesting. It only has these 2 volumes, and then I guess it's supposed to be getting finished at some point, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I knew that when I was getting into this, and I still wanted to buy the books because they looked very pretty. And boy, are they. It's an interesting world. I do think that there's some like plot stuff that didn't totally work for me. There's like a sense of like where is she going? Like what is her mission? We know she's traveling with this thing, but it doesn't seem that important because she keeps not doing it all the time. And I know that that's kind of like the nature of these things, but I don't know. There's a little bit of us just like wandering around while she keeps talking about how important it is, this thing that they have to do. But it doesn't feel like they move towards it through these 2 books. Maybe that's just me. But I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a great time. There's definitely parts where it like lost me, but at the same time, there's lots of moments where I was like very emotionally invested in what is happening. The later parts, I think it's book 2 has probably my favorite like story arc in it, where there's like a witch doctor person that I really, really thought was interesting, and I liked all the visuals with that. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool. I would love to see where it goes. You know, I think that like if they like continued this and like really landed it, I think that then this would be a very good book. But just with like the 2 in the beginning, feels like they were laying down a lot of track, and we didn't ever totally get there, which is okay. These things happen. But Isola, I would give it 3 out of 5. I think it's very interesting. I know there's like a really passionate following for this book that's like waiting for it to come back. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Up next, we got Knights. It's by Wyatt Kennedy and Luigi Formisano. It is also colored, I believe, by Francesco Sagala. That's a crazy first page. I don't think there was a naked person there. I was just looking for credits. Oh my god. I don't think we have it. Wyatt Kennedy writes it. Luigi draws it. This book is sick. Off the chain. I'm telling you right now, it's a 5 out of 5 banger masterpiece. This book feels like your favorite like cartoon that you used to watch. How you remember that when you were like, yo, that was so sick. I loved it so much. This is like that good, dude. Like if this guy like this reminds me of like the greatest animated show never made. Luigi's art is sick. Wyatt Kennedy's like sensibility for his story is really scattered and random, but it all like works so well. I feel like if you wrote down on paper, like, the script for this must sound crazy, but then when it's here and it's all together, it looks wonderful, and it reads so smooth. I had the best time reading this book. I feel like, if I should, let me calm down. Follows this main kid. Surely he's got a name. Vince. Yes, of course, Vince. We follow Vince as he's moving in with his brother, his older brother, to go live with his brother and his, like, you know, kind of, yeah, I don't want to say piece of shit friends, but, you know, classic early 20s guys. Nobody's really going anywhere. Everybody's just kind of fucking around living in the same house, right? It's in this alternate world. if you read this first page, has this like shenanigans. Florida is owned by Spain. America has 31 states. Vampires, ghosts, and other supernatural creatures are common and benign. The internet is infantile and irrelevant. That's the setup that you like get into here. You run into a lot of ghosts. They were not playing. The ghosts are very interesting. In this book, they don't really get into it, but I can't wait to see more. But you're just kind of like floating through this world with Vince. And like, as crazy as it is, it's like a little crazy to Vince too. And you're just like, watching all this crazy shit happen, dude. There's like high octane like violence and murder. There's like magic and like, you know, classic like teen coming of age stuff. There's everything in this book. It's colored beautifully. We follow like this sick cast of characters, which is like his older brother's friends that he's living with. His younger one. This really like connected with me, man. It really hit. It has like this childlike wonder and imagination sprinkled throughout the attitudes of all the characters, and everybody treats life so lightly, and everybody, it feels like they're just so excited to be like in this crazy world, like adventuring, even though they can't like make rent, even though that like this crazy stuff happens, like people are dying, there's like vampires, there's hitmen, but he's still worried about like class and making sure that his teacher doesn't like call home, so that, you know what I mean? Like the combination of all those things is done so well, and I think that if you give this to anyone other than Wyatt Kennedy, this shit looks like a fucking mess. But in his hands, it is just like this like virtuosic performance of like this imaginative view of the world, dude. Where it's like this feels like our world, but also like this is crazy. It feels close enough to our world that I like relate, but also so far away that it's like there's like just this magic in the air on everything that's happening there. I cannot rep for this book more. Like I was so impressed. I'm in on this series, however many books it comes out. I would recommend this to everyone. I think Knights is a banger masterpiece, at least off of this first trade. Yeah, loved it. Up next, we got Precious Metal. This is written by Darcy Van Polgeest, drawn by Ian Bertram, the GOAT. Colored by Matt Hollingsworth. Letters by the GOAT, Hassan Otsmani Elhau. I don't know what Ben Didier does. Book designer. Oh, well, good job, Ben. That looks great. As it says here, is in the world of Little Bird. This is a prequel, though, so you don't really need to know any of the shit that happens in there, although it does enhance the experience. I have read Little Bird. I thought it was pretty cool, mostly because Ian Bertram is an absolute sicko. And that carries on in here. This is maybe the most beautiful book I read this year so far. I can't think of one that's cooler. Look at this, dude. What are we talking about? Ian Bertram is the master of this like clean line. There's a million lines and these hatch marks. Everything's kind of like droopy and like there's like globs of stuff. The texture is off the chain. I literally can't figure out how he did that in the backgrounds. You know, maybe I'm a fool. Maybe it's all just like digital stuff that I'm not privy to. I don't think so. I actually think he's all traditional tool-wise. But we follow this guy. His name is Max. He is a PI, I think, of sorts. He's more like this mercenary, kind of working for himself. He's got these crazy pink tentacles for a hand. It's nuts. And he goes on this mission. He's supposed to find this kid, right? Then he goes to find the kid. Turns out the kid has crazy brain powers, and it changes him forever. Listen, the plot of this book is nuts. It's insane. I read the whole thing, front to back. I don't know what happens in this book. It's not really why you're here. You're here for the vibes. You're here for the art. Darcy's writing is very good. It captures the tone and the mood more so than it explicitly tells you what happens. I felt very confused through all of this book, and I'd say I had a great time. It's nuts, dude. He lives in this like crazy futuristic place. There's a lot of space travel. Look at this, bro. Look at this artwork. Look at this. It's sick. And as it goes on, it gets even sicker. Ian Bertram is a genius. Darcy Van Cool Geese. I read Little Bird too, and I was kind of left with the same feeling where I'm like, I don't really know what's going on, but this art's really cool. I felt like I knew more what was happening in Little Bird. This one I have no idea. I know he's after the boy, and I know that it gets complicated after that, and it's very like introspective, but it feels like this is like a Christopher Nolan movie. This is like how I felt. Nah, I'm not gonna say how I felt in Tenet because I low key don't fuck with Tenet. Don't eat me alive for that one. But that kind of feeling where you're like, what is happening? It's beautiful. What's going on? It has a lot of that. I don't want to get too far into it, but it has lots of monsters. I think everyone should give this book a shot. I'm not gonna call it a banger masterpiece, but it's beautiful. And if you are into sci-fi at all, literally at all, even a smidge, I think you should read this book. It's very good. It's very good. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about it. I feel like people rant and rave about this book. It's sick. I love it. I'll give it a low 5 out of 5 because, again, I didn't know what happened. And that can make it really hard. It's hard to recommend a book when I don't know what's happening in it. But I really loved it. And I think that you probably will too. Up next, we got DC vs. Vampires World War V, Volume 1. Written by Matthew Rosenberg. Drawn by Otto Schmidt. Love Otto Schmidt. And what was that other person's name? Oh, wow. There's actually so many writers. That's crazy. Oh, yeah, lots of backup stories. Here, I'll just hold it up. There's a lot of names. There's a lot of things happening. But we give credit around here. So this is the continuation of the DC vs. Vampire series. Matthew Rosenberg has been a part of all of them, but there's been like a lot of co-writers, like James Tynion did the first one with him. And to be honest, that first one was an absolute heater banger. The second one, which I forget the title of, I didn't like at all, but I do own both hardcovers of them somehow. This one, Otto Schmidt is back. He did not draw the second one, which is great because Otto Schmidt is sick. I really, really like his art. And this book is solid. It's like fine. It continues the idea of it's. I can't believe there's another one of these after this, to be honest, because like the story is still going, but it doesn't feel like big hits in the story. Like maybe that's just me. I just don't care about a lot of these characters at this point, and it's been coming out over so long that it's like hard for me to like really lock in on any of this. Because the second series, All Out War, I think it was called, it had nothing to do with the main series. It was like a complete spin-off about something else, and that like. There's connections through it, but it's just all a little janky to me. I think that this book is cool. I think it's fine. I think if you're like this, as far in as I am, what are you gonna do? Not finish it? You know what I mean? But I don't think this book is like all that special. I really, really love the first DC vs. Vampires. Would recommend that. I don't know if I'd recommend anything else outside of that. There are some really cool backup story things in here that happen that I liked quite a bit. But I don't know if that makes it all worth it, you know? There's lots of, I don't know if I can find one on command like that. But there's fun, yeah, they go in like different styles like this. It's pretty good. But the main story, I don't even know where we're going anymore. And, you know, that's just kind of where I'm going to leave it. If you like Otto Schmidt art, I mean, get this book. I'm just not sure. I'll give it a low 3 out of 5. Up next, we got Slaughterhouse-5, the graphic novel adaptation. Adapted by Ryan North, drawn by Albert Montes, obviously written by Kurt Vonnegut. I haven't read the Slaughterhouse-5 at all. I have the book. I've owned the book for 100 years, and I haven't even cracked it open. But I heard this adaptation was very good, and really is honorable to the original book. You know what I mean? Like, everybody says it's a good adaptation, so I went for it. And I really liked it. It is, again, a book about how war is bad. How it's terrible. And no one should do it. Which I guess I'm now realizing keeps coming up, huh? Crazy. All right. But it's great. Albert Montes, he did Universe, which is like a webcomic that got printed that I read a little while ago, and I really liked. His style is great. I think that I assume that most of these words are Kurt Vonnegut's writing, and that Ryan North just scripted it and made it work for this. So I don't know like, you know, how much credit. I'm sure he'd be like, yeah, all the credit should go to Kurt Vonnegut. He seems like a humble dude. But I mean, I think this is really well done. There's a lot of time travel kind of stuff. There's a shot of sci-fi, but really what it is, it's a story kind of spanning over this man's life and him serving in the war and how it affected him. And we see like all parts of his life. And I'm a sucker for any kind of story like that encompasses a character's like entire life. And I think this does it in a really out of order, interesting, like dynamic way. You know, because everything is not told in chronological order. We bounce around. The whole thing is that he gets unstuck in time, and so he is experiencing his life not in the correct order, kind of like as he's moving through this war. And it's really interesting. It's very well written. It's beautifully illustrated. The colors are sick. I think this is really good. Really good. I'm not going to call it a banger masterpiece. However, I do think this is a good book for someone who's like, if you had someone who read a lot of books who hasn't read a lot of comics, I think this is a great book to give them. This is definitely still very, I don't know how you'd call it. Like this is a smart book. As much as I love comic books, the way this is written is closer to prose than it is to comic book writing still. But I liked it for it. It's very smart. I think, let's not get any of that. It's very smart. It's interesting. I really love the way it's written. I feel like there's just like personality dripping from every part of this book in the best way. This kind of reminds me of the Six Fingers, just the Six Fingers part that Dan Waters did. And the guy, I can't remember his name now, the Indian dude. I can't think of it. But I actually don't know if he's Indian. That might be a shot. But you know what I'm talking about. That same kind of style and that same kind of like tone over the story is carried through. I really enjoyed this. I think I'm going to give this a very high 4 out of 5. I think this book's, well, you know what? I think you should get a low. I really liked it. Maybe a 5. Maybe a low 5 out of 5. This book's really good. It's very well done. And I read it pretty much in one sitting. I couldn't really put it down. So I thought it was great. I haven't read the actual book, so, you know, take that with a grain of salt. Maybe if you've read the actual Slaughterhouse 5, this might not be as good. I thought it was very interesting. A thought-provoking read that I enjoyed quite a bit. Yeah, 5 out of 5. Listen, guys. I've been reading Lazarus. So much Lazarus. You guys have seen the other videos. I'm in. I think I actually can't believe that this is the 4th book, and it's still so good. This one did have a little bit of a falter in there for me. There's a scene later on, I don't really want to get into it, but where there's a big like family meeting that I didn't love. But I think that I think Lazarus, for me, when the aliens come and they say, we're gonna shoot lasers at your planet unless you can bring me your greatest comic books. The human race lives or dies based on the quality of the comic books you send us. I think Lazarus has to be one of them. I think front to back, you know, beginning to end, this is maybe one of the best made series of all time for me. I cannot recommend it enough. Lazarus is a banger masterpiece. It's a 5 out of 5. Damn near broke the scale. You should read this book. I'm not going to flip through it. You've seen me talk about it before. I love this series. Lazarus is really, really good. However good you think it is, it's probably a little better than that. I don't mean to overhype, but I've really enjoyed this. It's excellently crafted, very well illustrated. Read Lazarus, bro. Just do it. Up next, I got book 2 and book 3 of Oblivion Song, written by Robert Kirkman, drawn by Lorenzo De Felici, colors by Annalisa Leone. The series is very interesting. I heard a guy on a podcast once say that this was his favorite Robert Kirkman book, which made me have to read it, because Robert Kirkman wrote Invincible and The Walking Dead, and I thought it was a crazy statement to make. And I really liked it. I think that Lorenzo De Felici's art is killer, dude. I really love it. He's doing Void Rivals right now with Robert Kirkman again. I'm not really bought in on the Energon Universe stuff. Because I'm under 30 years old. That's a shot. I don't mean to do that. I just don't care about Transformers like that. But I love his style. I bought his book Chroma a while ago, which was like, I don't know. I was a little, I didn't love it, but the artwork is incredible, dude. He's sick. So definitely interested. I like Robert Kirkman. I like Invincible. I haven't really read The Walking Dead very much, but I like him. I'm reading Battle Beast. I'm in. So, and also these books are beautiful, dude. These are such well designed books. So I gave it a shot, and I really liked the series. I think that it's shorter, a short span Robert Kirkman wise for a series because he'll go for like however long Invincible went, 130 or whatever issues. This is definitely shorter than that, but like it covers all the bases. We get some cool alien stuff. I think that it's like an interesting theme going throughout of like, just because like is this the good dimension? Are we sure about that? I thought that stuff was really interesting. I think he's really talky, he's Robert Kirkman, so everybody talks a lot. And this book does suffer a little bit from like every person like apologizes perfectly, and like I don't know, it was a little unbelievable for me at times. Like someone will make a mistake and then everyone will accept them for who they are afterwards and like apologize and do it really eloquently in a way that I don't feel like people operate. So it's like cool, but like I don't believe that people would do that. But that doesn't like get in the way of the story. I think it's pretty good. I like the alien stuff that happens in the series. I don't want to show too much, but I would recommend Oblivion Song. I think Oblivion Song is a very high 4 out of 5. I don't think it's perfect, but I don't think, who's looking for a perfect book, dude? This book does rip. I liked it quite a bit. I feel like high 4 out of 5 is exactly where it belongs. I would recommend for anyone with the who likes a good sci-fi story, man. The sci-fi itch is what I was going to say, but that just sounded kind of gross, so. Oblivion Song, pretty good. 4 out of 5. Up next, we got Black Magic by Greg Rucka and Nicola Scott. Now, I gotta be careful in this one. There's lots of naked people in this book. But really, all I have to do is open this book, dude. Nicola Scott is out of her fucking mind, dude. Look at how good these drawings are. The whole book's in black and white like this. I'm already in the bag for Greg Rucka because he wrote Lazarus. And so I've been slowly trying to make my way through his kind of catalog here. His independent stuff, at least. And Black Magic was on here. It is not finished. All that I know that there's like a little bit more in this hardcover. There's like another trade after it. But I think he's going to like finish everything here pretty soon. And it's incredible. It's so well written. It's beautifully illustrated. Like unreal. I read this book also in one sitting, which, it's not a thin one. At its core, it's about like witches. It's like occult witch stuff going on. This girl is a cop and she has like some kind of occult witchiness about her that we kind of learn about as the series goes on. I think that Greg Rucka knows like exactly when to like just let the artist cook, dude. And like she's so talented. Like Nicola Scott is incredible. This artwork is ridiculous. The fact that there's this many pages of this book and they're all drawn this way is actually ridiculous. I think the story is interesting. It held throughout. It's like a detective, occult, not thriller, but like, we're kind of like unraveling this mystery of what's going on. Who are the players even? Like, what is happening? And it's a real slow roll out of like information. So you're trying to like put things together, but you couldn't because it's magic, dude. Like literally fucking anything could happen. So it's sick. I really like it. I know there's a lot of crazy stuff happening here, but I think it's good for YouTube. I think we're good. I really, really love this book. I don't want to say too much because I think everyone should read this series. I think that this is a 5 out of 5 just off of this one hardcover. Again, this is not the full series. I hesitate to say banger masterpiece, but I can't think of a better drawn book than this. Like, dead ass. It's incredible. It's incredible. And the whole book is like this. I understand, like, if you're not into the cop stuff, this might be tough, but I feel like Greg Rucka likes to live in this cop world, He wrote Gotham Central, at least partially. It's incredible, dude. Read this book. Black Magic. 5 out of 5. It's a banger. Last one, I have A Vicious Circle. It was written by Mattson Tomlin and Lee Bermejo. If I'm not mistaken, Mattson Tomlin is the guy who wrote The Batman? Which is kind of great. Or The Batman Part 2. Sorry. I guess the one that's not out yet. He's got credit for that on this book. That's kind of crazy. Now listen. I just said Black Magic is probably the best illustrated book. And I do mean that. Like, maybe that I've ever seen. And I mean that, but Lee Bermejo in this book is out of his gourd, bro. Look at this. Look at this, dude. This is a page in a comic book. What are we doing? So this book is a time-traveling book. This is our main guy. Definitely don't remember his name. You know how I get with the main characters. But he is a time traveler. I don't want to say too much. I think this is a really fun book to go into blind. So I'm not actually going to say too much. But as we kind of travel through time and to these different places, Lee Bermejo comes and busts out some other styles as it happens. So like we get some of this. You know? We change through. And it's about this character and someone else and kind of their back and forth as they travel through time. That's all I'm going to say. Really interesting book. Another one where I hit the end and it didn't feel like the book like was resolved, but it also felt like that was kind of the point. I think it's interesting. I think it's a great time. I think that Mattson Tomlin again knows when to let the art just cook. It's pretty sparsely on the words. It's pretty sparse, and I think it's a great time. I think that this is like a this reminds me of like, you know, when you watch a sci-fi movie. I'm not gonna say Christopher Nolan like I did the other one, but like a Ryan Johnson movie. I might be getting crazy on this, but where it's like kind of complicated and confusing, but it's like interesting and it draws you in. I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I don't want to go too much further in spoiling all of this, but A Vicious Circle is a beautiful book. This is a beautiful cover. I think this is the DM variant. I would recommend. I'm going to give it a high 4 out of 5. It's definitely not a perfect book, but I think it's a really fun ride, especially if you like some action and some sci-fi. Very action-heavy book. When it says A Vicious Circle, it means it, dude. There's violence. A lot of violence happens in this book. Maybe eventually I'll make a video where I can kind of like talk about it more, but I really don't want to spoil it for anyone. So I'm going to leave it there. That is every book that I read in the month of June. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to this point in the video, as always, if you could just, you know, leave the books that you're reading, leave a comment, tell me what books I should be reading that I haven't read yet. I like some indie stuff, but I'm fairly new to comic books. So I actually, you know, haven't read that much, I feel like, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.